I'm going to go ahead and skip everything else and bring Bonnie Yates in because we're running really late here. Bonnie Yates is a special education attorney with Tollner Law Offices. She's amazing. And I'm going to bring her in and let her tell us a little bit about Tollner Law Offices. And she's going to be talking with us about special education law and knowing your rights. In fact, we call this segment Your Rights with Bonnie Yates. Bonnie, I see that you're there. Traven, can you
I'm
bring her
there.
in? Hello, madam.
Happy birthday, Shannon.
Thank you so much. And thank everyone at Tollner Law Offices. I saw that they posted a thing saying happy birthday to me. That was very sweet.
Really? I didn't
They,
even put them up to that. That's pretty cool.
they did that. I saw that this morning and I thought, look at that. That is so nice. Who
I
would have?
guess they know that you're the exclamation point percentage $sign hashtag ampersand person that you are.
Well, it's funny. I just never thought in my life I would be friends with so many lawyers. Like I did not see that
Yeah,
coming.
the unintended consequences. I'm not touching that one. Um, Homer Law Offices, we're a 12 attorney firm. We're based in San Jose. We have a Southern California office. We have um, an attorney that's licensed in Arizona. What we really are is a bunch of people that care a lot about disabilities because most of us have been touched by them in our own personal lives. And I feel lucky to be working with this group of people because they're all super smart. So, with that said, if you want more information about Tollner, Tollner, just look us up on the web. If you go to our website, there are forms you can fill out for a free consultation if you're in California or Arizona. And with that, I want to talk to you today about things that are happening currently with special education because of the pandemic that are different from what was going on a year ago at this time. Some of the state guidance I was reading in order to get ready for the show was stuff that we were talking about like last fall. And I'm like, oh wow, we're going into our second fall in this mode. It sort of all of a sudden kind of hit me. But anyway, what I'm seeing a lot of in the IEPs that I'm reading and what I'm getting a lot of questions about is distance learning under emergency conditions. And so we're going to talk about that. What I want to say first, just a little reminder if you're in California, there is independent study available through the education code, but that is explicitly mentioned as not being an intervention for students with IEPs. And there's a very good reason for that. It's a recognition of the fact that independent study is not a very good substitute for either in person learning or the kind of distance learning that was available during the first part of school closure. The other thing is, I think I said this about a week or two ago, but I want to mention it again. Home hospital services, which generally equate to an hour a day of teaching, are not intended for students with IEPs. They're supposed to be for people that have a temporary disability until their disability resolves. But we see kids getting dumped into home hospital if they're disenrolled or if the district doesn't feel like giving them more. So watch out for the home hospital. So let's start with a definition of distance learning, since the the term is getting thrown around a lot. For the purposes of the guidance and resources on this page, this is the CDE website. Distance learning means instruction in which the student and instructor are in different locations. This may include interacting through the use of a computer and communications technology, as well as delivering instruction and check in time with the teacher. Distance learning may include video or audio instruction, in which the primary mode of communication between the student and instructor is online, instructional television, video, telecourses, or other instruction that relies on computer or communications technology. It may also include the use of print materials, incorporating assignments that are on the subject of written or oral feedback. This page provides guidance and information for teachers, students, and parents who are transitioning or have transitioned to a distance learning model. So that's the definition of distance learning. Um, Please note that while this page refers to many specific resources to support local education agencies, in developing, improving, and extending instruction through their distance learning capabilities, the CDE has not extensively reviewed all resources. Individual lead educational agencies are responsible for assessing the appropriateness of any specific resource prior to implementation. So that's really what that is that's what is available if there's an emergency situation that requires the closure of school for more than 10 school days, right? That's what triggers the emergency plan in your IEP. Now, the thing about the emergency plans that's really interesting is I've read a bunch of them now, and they all basically say we might do it this way, that way, or this way, um, and we'll contact you once the emergency conditions are in effect, and then we'll let you know how we're going to do this. And that really is not acceptable. It doesn't pass muster. What you should know is that the next time you have an IEP meeting, if you don't have an emergency plan in place already, they're late because everybody in California was supposed to have one by June 30th. But in any event, use that opportunity to either clean up or initiate a distance learning plan that talks about what your student needs. And Sarah Fairchild, who's an attorney with our office, said that what she likes to do is she likes to start with talking about whether the student can even participate in asynchronous learning. She likes to talk about what the student can do from the home environment, what he can't do, what kind of supports he needs. And we all know now that you can ask for, and in some cases, the state and federal government say in-home services may be warranted, and also parent training may be warranted if that's necessary in order for the parent to assist with the implementation of an IEP during a time of emergency conditions. So,
Can
what
I
are
can I pause for a second and interrupt for a second just to make sure that I'm understanding? So, first of all, I think for everybody is that we have to have an awareness that in our child's IEP there should be this emergency plan, and saying if just to paraphrase what you said a minute ago, if they are saying that, well, if there's school closures, we'll worry about that when we come to, we might do this and we might do that, is not acceptable. They have to
right?
have a plan. But here's, I feel like our parents are falling in two separate categories right now, Bonnie. There's one category of people who are thrilled if they can get their child back into the physical school. So I think that this information super important for them about what happens if it's not, so that nobody's caught with their pants around their ankles again. It's way too late in the game for that. People have had plenty of time to plan if there's school closure again, and please let there not be. But there's a whole other category of parents, Bonnie, and that might be something for another day, who are people that have the opportunity to send their child to school right now, but they don't want to because their child is immune compromised.
Right.
Do
They are
they
not
still
able to. They are not able to.
have,
And and for those children, um, the district is offering less this the districts generally are offering less this year. They aren't having their teachers offer a virtual academy. Now there are exceptions. LA Unified has a virtual academy, Irvine Unified has a virtual academy, but a lot of school districts don't. And that's why I started out saying independent study, which is what they're offering instead for people that don't feel that it's safe to come back to school, is not intended for people with IEPs, and it's not a substitute for good special education services.
can we say though, because I think that a lot of times parents are concerned about their child being immune compromised, but they don't necessarily have a doctor's note saying your child is immune compromised and should not go back to school. But can we put them all in that category, that if you feel that your child should not go back because of health concerns, that that goes into the you aren't able to? Is that what you, because you
Well,
were,
I think the way the health department and the state have left it is they're letting individual districts do that filtering. So I can't tell you what's going to be enough documentation and what won't be.
okay.
If they want to be difficult about it, um, then they could insist on a doctor's note.
Okay, because I feel like those parents don't feel empowered to negotiate to get everything that their child needs because they're already being pressured to come to school and they don't want to do that. So I
Those
feel like
people
Go
Those
ahead.
people should be bringing their questions to the show, and they should be having an IEP meeting to discuss what their child needs, both during regular conditions and during emergency conditions. And just a sidebar, a gentleman wrote in and said, our emergency plan is separate from our IEP. Should we work to integrate the two documents? I would say it's good to have it all in one place. Now, the thing I was going to say was, here are some of the conditions which constitute emergency conditions. And I know that's not what you want to talk about. You want to talk about what options there are for people who cannot send their kids back to school. And we can do that, but it's a different topic than the topic of
Great. I
what
want to stay
happens
with
if
what
an
you're doing. I
emergency
just wanted to mention it, but I
No,
also wanted to.
we can put up later.
Okay,
Definitely.
great.
Okay, so emergency conditions include flood, fire, impassable roads, epidemic, earthquake, transportation strike, etc. So that, that's not a fully inclusive list. That's to give you some ideas about it. And if you do find yourself dealing with an emergency condition, like for example, people in the Lake Tahoe area who were evacuated from their homes because of fire also were potentially not able to access school because the roads were closed. So, it's going to be common sense and probably pretty easy to figure out whether something is an emergency condition. Now, the thing that the state government and the federal government have been concerned about is to not let everything that needs to be done not get done because of an emergency uh, condition. And so assessments are still required, and they can be done in person, even if school is closed. If that's not possible, the districts are allowed to use existing data, and they have to continue to take safety into account in terms of social distancing and things. But the important thing is that there are no timeline waivers on assessments, holding IEPs, or providing records. All of this is still required. So if the district, I've had some LA Unified IEPs where they didn't assess, and they took a evaluation from a private provider that was 2 years old, and they just put that information into the IEP. And they are vulnerable when they do that, because somebody like me is going to say that's not an appropriate assessment. You have to pay for an outside assessment, and that's been very successful. There's an interesting website that folks might want to take a look at. It's the California Association of School Psychologists, and they have a big page on testing resources for school psychologists during emergency conditions, or even during conditions where school is still closed, but for whatever reason it may be difficult to test a student. Um, the other thing that I wanted to mention to everybody is that the district is required to hold an IEP. They're supposed to be monitoring if the student isn't making progress. So anytime your student is not making progress, they should hold an IEP meeting. They're obligated to do so. And if they don't do so, you should feel that it's appropriate for you to call an IEP to discuss any of this. And as far as this goes, if you go to the California Department of Education website, they have a lot of interesting resources and webinars for parents that are good to look at if you've got time and interest. So even if we're operating under emergency conditions, there are no waivers of the IDEA. So that's important that everybody understands.
Thanks for watching Autism Live. If you found anything helpful in this video, please give us a like. In fact, make sure that you smash that subscribe button on YouTube and give us a like on Facebook. You can also follow us on Twitter and Instagram for important updates. And please download our free podcast wherever you get your podcasts. See you next time. Until then, give your kiddos a hug from me and one for you too. Bye-bye for now. To subscribe, click here.
And if you'd like to check out some more of our videos, click here.